I had an elaborate video planned for this morning talking all about this wide receiver 2 position and what the Pittsburgh Steelers could potentially do and where teams sit right now that could possibly be trade partners for the Pittsburgh Steelers in order to fill that hole that the fan base has been screaming for all offseason. And then I thought to myself, who really gives a shit? Welcome back to Mike Drop Sports, everybody. I'm Jason. Let's dive in here on a Friday. Again, I had a video I went through and really dissected the NFL's rosters and looked at potential candidates for possible trade partners for the Steelers. And I thought to myself, why? Why would the Pittsburgh Steelers even care right now? Because I think that this team has started to come together. I feel like you get a good vibe from this team, and I don't really want to mess with that by bringing in another high dollar diva wide receiver first and foremost. And second of all, I think this wide receiver room could perform at an elite level and execute the Arthur Smith offense big and do big things and have a great season. And I think coupled with the tight end room and the potential there and a guy in which I think is going to have a monster year, that's an intangible or a variable that I think a lot of fans are discounting. And as Connor Hayward as an H-back slash fullback tight end guy, a gadget guy, a guy that can do it all, I think he is going to come out and have a big year and be potentially a great target for Russell Wilson here in 2024. I look at Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, then I look at this wide receiver room and I say to myself, I think Van Jefferson could step up. I think that Roman Wilson, the rookie, could potentially, as the year goes on, step up. I think that Calvin Austin III, who works extremely hard, could step up into a big, more prominent role for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024. Why would the Steelers go out there and cash strap themselves? I know they will have $105 million next year in available cap space, ranking in the top 3, I believe, across the league out of all teams. I get that. But the Pittsburgh Steelers have 2 quarterbacks on 1-year deals. What if one of those guys come out and light the world on fire and you want to take and utilize them down the road and you want to sign them to a more long-term deal? You're going to have to pay them, so that's going to eat up a lot of that money. But here's the thing, guys. Why go out there and create a situation that you don't have to create, in my eyes? I think that this Arthur Smith offense would be just fine with what they have currently right now. I think there are players on this roster that fit, and that fit very well. And I feel like the puzzle is starting to come together. And I think that the Steelers are starting to realize that also. I talked about Calvin Austin, a guy that's coming to work every single day, and all you hear out of that building is how hard he works and how much potential he possibly has to do good things. And I know Roman Wilson was a 3rd-round draft pick, but the Pittsburgh Steelers have been pretty decent at selecting wide receivers, and I really have faith in a guy like Roman Wilson. I think he likes contact. I think he likes to be a blocking wide receiver. I think he likes to make the tough catches, and I think there is a difference between OTAs and minicamp speed and reps and what they're putting on the field as opposed to live game action. There's a big difference there. There's a game gear that most people have. Game gear, like Sega Genesis Game Gear back in the day, if you remember that. Shout out to Sega. Yeah, that Roman Wilson wants to come out and play, and I think that he'll have a different speed and a different ability come game days. And I think once he is inside a game environment, a live rep environment, I think you'll start to see him shine. I think you'll start to see him shine at training camp. But I really have high hopes for guys like Calvin Austin. I think George Pickens is going to be a deadly weapon and allow teams to double team him. Who cares if they double team him? Because what, guys? You're leaving open guys that can get it done. Van Jefferson has proven in this league he could get it done. He had some injuries, bounced from team to team there last season, wasn't able to get real opportunities, but he has proven before in this league that he can score touchdowns, score points, and be a real help to a quarterback on this roster. And I definitely think that he has that potential and could potentially do it again here in 2024. I think George Pickens is not going to be double teamed all the time because you're not going to be able to if you're an opposing defense. You're not always going to be able to give safety help over the top on George, and you're going to not always be able to match up the best against him because there's other players on this team that can hurt you. Pat Freiermuth, potentially, if he could ever stay healthy, could really put it together, I think. I think Darnell Washington, if utilized right, and I think Arthur Smith will utilize him correctly because he loves that kind of guy, that big body guy that's very physical. I think Darnell could potentially have a big year. I think the Steelers are going to come out in tons of jumbo sets this year. And I think the running game is really going to help these guys. And I think that's another variable that people are missing here also. How much help that running game is going to give this offense. You're going to be able to run the football and draw defenders down. They're going to load the box up. That's going to create mismatches, guys. You have some guys with some wheels, Calvin Austin being one of them. Roman Wilson's pretty quick. George Pickens has crazy, scary speed that's deceiving. You don't think he's cruising, but man, he has those big, long strides, and he really gets moving, guys. And I think that speed is underestimated a little bit. I think Van Jefferson can move, man. I really think that this Pittsburgh Steelers team is not in trouble like some of the Steelers Nation thinks. And I think the coaching staff realizes that. I think Mike Tomlin realizes that. I think Arthur Smith realizes that. Coach Azani, Coach Z, I think he realizes what he has in that room. And I think Arthur Smith knows as a whole what he has in this unit. And I think what Arthur Smith really plans on doing, guys, is playing complementary football. And what I say on that side of the football, offense in particular, complementary to itself. He's going to play complement to the run game, play complement to the short to intermediate game, which is going to open up those splash plays. And you do have quarterbacks, 2 of them on the roster right now that come to mind that can really hurt you with the deep ball because they have big, strong arms. And Russell Wilson has been known to do it before. And when you look at Russell Wilson's success throughout the years, exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers are planning on doing, planning on deploying here in 2024 is exactly where he fits best and exactly where he's had his most success with a team that fits or that does the things that the Steelers will do in 2024. And I definitely think that that's something we need to look at. And again, you're coming out here with a young offensive line, I believe, and I think there's still potential for, Dan Moore Jr. to play some reps. I think that there's potential for others. I think these young guys will slowly develop as the season goes on, and I think this team will continually get stronger and stronger and stronger across that offensive front. I think the defense is going to be a top 5 defense in this league, considering what they have, at least on paper. That's what I'm thinking. And I know this is a little bit early to be given any type of predictions in any way of like saying what this team will be. But if you look on paper right now, this team is not that far off from being a major player inside of the AFC, at least on paper. And I think that that's something to be really excited about. Now, I learned my lesson last year. I won't get excited and overly hype about the preseason. I won't do that. But we haven't played any preseason games yet. And what I'm looking at is on paper and what players have done in the past, what they've been able to do in order to be successful, and where they have been successful and what types of schemes. And when I add it all up, I just don't see the need right now to go out there and make any type of monster move. I just don't see it, guys. And I know you guys want it, or at least a lot of people want it in the fan base. A lot of people are screaming for it. I get comments every day saying, if we don't get a wide receiver 2, it's over. It's done. Another season, another mediocre season. I don't know if that to be true. I don't know if I would put all my stock in that. Is there great potential for that to happen? Absolutely, there is. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe, with what they have, can overcome this so-called deficiency. I think also there's one other deficiency on this football team, and that's across the defensive front. But I have really high hopes for a healthy Cam Hayward. I have really high hopes for a second-year Keanu Benton. I like the addition of a Dean Lowry. I think maybe a Logan Lee could come in and learn and potentially grow. I definitely think Amon Adams could do some things that would really help this defensive front also. And when you're playing alongside guys like Alex Highsmith, TJ Watt, I think that helps also. And that elevates your play, and that elevates everybody around them's play. But you look at this defense in a big way also, and you start to look into the middle. I think they've really got exceptional there. I think they got really, really good, barring health issues. I think that they will really be one of the league's best groups in the middle. I really, really do, because I have super high hopes for Peyton Wilson, and I think this team will deploy Peyton Wilson early and often. And then I look at this defensive backfield, and I think that it has actually gotten really, really good over this offseason, at least on paper, guys. At least with what I've seen on paper. That's what matters. And yes, you get a little bit of a look inside of OTAs and mini camps, but you can't get a real picture there. I say that all the time. It's actually impossible to sit there and give any type of grade on these players because they're not playing real football. I only gauge my predictions off of real football. So what I'm doing right now is gauging off things that I've seen in the past, what players have done before. So that's what I'm gauging my theories on right now. I'm not gauging them on anything that you see in OTAs right now because it's, again, not real footballs. I'm not gauging anything on the mini camp session that happened. It's not real football. So we'll leave it at that. We'll see real football come Latrobe, this summer in July, Latrobe, Pennsylvania, the big time training camp experience that you can have if you go up there and watch the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I recommend that you do that. It's one of the league's best in my opinion. So yeah, a lot of variables at play. Yeah, we'll talk about the Hard Knocks stuff again. You know, we know that's going to play into this, but I think this could be a potentially really, really fun season for Pittsburgh Steelers fans, and I think that maybe we can erase some of the bad memories here since 2016 without a playoff win, and maybe Mike Tomlin can come out there and really redeem himself with a really special group that I think that they have and that they have assembled here over the last 2 years under the tutelage of Omar Khan and Andy Weidel. So I really look for a special season. At least I hope so. At least right now, that's my hope. So we'll continue to evaluate this and break this down. But right now, who gives a shit about going out there and grabbing a wide receiver too? Let's focus on the players that we have right here, right now. All right, guys, don't forget our live stream tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the show Steel City Live here on Mike Drop Sports. And as always, guys, like, share, subscribe. Continue to grow this community of like-minded Steelers fans, NFL fans, and yeah, we do. We have fans from all over. It's kind of crazy. Bills, Lions, Titans, Eagles, lots of Eagles fans. So we have fans from all over that join us in the live show every night. So if you want to have a real spirited conversation, it's a cool place to come and not be ridiculed and be beat down for your comments. We try to answer all of them. So come join the fun and the conversation every day on Steel City Live. So until tonight at 6:30, peace.